All right, everybody, welcome to our eco-friendly Rotary Club meeting, July 23rd on this fine Tuesday, depending on where you're at, what time of day it is. But we'll go ahead and get started. We got a new fancy schmancy logo for our District 6930, so I put that on the title screen. Good job, District Cats. I think that was Marsha. I'm not sure who did it. We're just going to give Marsha credit for it, I guess. She does a lot of things. I'm sure it was, yeah. We'll go ahead and get started. Let's jump right in. And start with the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. Is it the truth?
Is it the truth?
Is it fair to all concerned?
Concerned?
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Will
it be beneficial to all
concerned?
Pretty darn good. Pretty darn good. I don't see my participants real quick here. Let me check. It's 9 folks. No visitors. Okay, perfect. I mean, that's not perfect, but no visitors. Let's see. How about Kimberly, since you were chatting up earlier, do you have anything else that want to share?
I'm sorry, somebody's rocking a rocking chair or something. It's really in my ear. I couldn't hear you. What did you say?
Oh, I was going to see if you had any updates or had anything you might want to share in terms of our fellowship.
Not particularly. Last month was fellowship month, but every month is fellowship month in our Rotary Club. So join one and become a Paul Harris. I don't know what else to say about that.
Sounds good. No, sounds good. Sounds good. Any other updates? Not to put anybody on the spot, but if anybody has anything you want to share, foundation or anything like that, please chime in.
I haven't done anything with foundation. I started to look at it the other day and went down some bunny trail and didn't do anything with it. And I'm supposed to be treasurer, but I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing yet. So Sam, maybe we need to get together with Jula and figure out where we are, because I'm completely lost about who's doing what. So
let's do it. You know what I do? I need to drive up there to your watch party.
Drive up here and do what?
I need to drive up there for the watch party, and then before the watch party, before we get schnickered, we should stop by the bank and add you to the bank account.
Okay, back up. What is a watch party and what are you talking about?
You offered. I mean, you said,
yeah, you did. You offered the watch party, Susie.
Oh, the watch party for I'm thinking of lunch. I'm like, what are you talking about? Oh, for Netflix. Yeah, no, that's fine. No,
even I read that. I wish I could join the watch party.
No idea how much
fun.
How busy I am right now. So yes, okay, we can do that. You can drive up for the watch party and we can go to the bank. I would be more than happy to do that.
All right. Now, I don't ever say no to people put me on their bank. So
I'm thinking launch. That's sorry.
Perfect. Any announcements? I wanted to remind myself of this nonprofit. So speaking of the treasury stuff, I think I'm good once again. So this is 501c3, not 503c3, but the IRS sent a letter and it came to my house, Susie, that we had been revoked. And so I tried to get that addressed. I think I got that resolved, but I'll follow up with you in another email about that.
Okay.
Other announcements, we got Rotary Leadership Institute on August 24th. That's at Kaiser University in Port St. Lucie. Let's see, this is from Neil. This is a great opportunity for Rotarians to learn more about Rotary. We want everybody's help promoting RLI. So if you haven't signed up yet, let me know, or you can go on DACDB and check that out. And so again, that is August 24th at Kaiser University here in Port St. Lucie, right across the street from me. So if you come down here, please let me know. I'm happy to take you out for a bite to eat or coffee or whatnot. It's right across the street from me. Any other announcements?
I'll be teaching, I'll be discussion leader in the one in January. So.
Oh, is that going to be local or online or?
Yeah. Yep. No, that's local.
Oh, wow.
Jula called me yesterday and asked me. And so it's the weekend of the 17th of January, President's Day weekend, or Inauguration Day weekend. Sorry. And awesome. Martin Luther King Day weekend.
Awesome.
So I'm going to fly down on Friday and fly back on Monday.
Wow. Well, that's great. That's great. We need to have a social. We need to have a big shindig to celebrate.
Yeah, we should.
Is it going to go down up north, or do you know where the district event is?
Well, it's there at Kaiser.
Port St. Lucie. Oh, sweet. Well, sounds like
another it sounds like another party.
Yeah, yeah, we got it'll be nice too. January shouldn't be, yeah, it should be nice weather. We can all get
Yeah.
on the
Oh, I
lanai
remember.
at my house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if I can get out of Washington DC, if we're not up to our, what's in snow.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, very cool. Thanks for letting us know.
Yeah,
Any
because
other announcements?
I'm a discussion leader and so Jewel asked me if I'd come down and do it. She asked me if I could do August, but I'm already working that weekend, or working that week, so I can't do it. But yeah, I'll be down there in January. So if you don't come to August, you can sign up in January, get to hang out.
And you're gonna have your student the whole time as well. So she might want to go down and see the famous Port St. Lucie. Susie, you could take her.
I'll be in England that week.
In January,
Oh,
you already know.
No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking you're talking about August. I'm sorry.
oh, January 17th.
Yeah, if she's still with me or whatever, but we can see about that. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
cool,
well,
cool.
you can come down in January when I'm down there. Martin
Oh.
Luther King weekend.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. How about any I Fix the Planet? Let me, while you guys are thinking, please just go ahead and jump in. Let me check our Treacly. Anybody I Fix the Planet?
Well, I tried walking more, so adding to the Treacly, I'm not quite sure if it actually synchronized. So
Yeah,
let me check that as well.
it's so annoying. I was in Paris and we were walking a heck of a lot, but I think it gets disconnected and then I don't think to look at it for a week or so and then I lose 100,000 steps or whatever.
Ah, that's unfortunate.
It's weird. It keeps like this. I haven't looked at it in a long time, but it seems like it just doesn't maintain the connection to your Fitbit or whatever, your Apple Watch or whatever. It's
Mm,
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes it'll store it for like a couple of days before, and then if you resync it, it'll pick it up. But yeah, right now it doesn't. But it looks like let me do a full group check together, eco-friendly Rotary. Looks like we got 213 trees planted. Roy, you're the leaderboard right now this week, followed by Jula. And we got 33.7 million steps altogether. Whew, good
that
job,
is
guys.
nice. Well done.
Aylish,
More than
what
that,
you
if it
doing?
would register mine. I mean, my gosh, the 6 weeks I was in Asia, I walked my feet and registered.
That's the hard part. You got to keep that dang thing synced.
Yeah, well,
Aylish,
somebody can tell me how to do that when I come down in January.
Aylish, you have something you want to share? All right. Let's go ahead and do our happy bucks, sad bucks, and birthdays. In what order? I always do happy bucks last. So let's just have a Debbie Downer to stop. So let's do happy bucks first. Can I ask a quick question? Do you guys hear my children screaming?
no.
Oh, great. Noise cancellation. It's wonderful. I can hardly hear you guys. Let's do sad bucks. David, you got one?
No, I don't have sad bucks, but I'm trying to catch up here. I clipped an article out of the New York Times this past week, and I was trying to send it out to distribution, but I don't have a distribution list. So anyway, it was I'll say it's good news. It says the White House lays out a plan to end its purchases of single-use plastics. And I just forwarded again to Susan, so maybe she can attach it next week's distribution.
For the
But anyway,
record, everybody in this club has access to DACDB, which is how you can send emails out to the group. So you don't need me to do it. I can do a demo in a couple of weeks on how to do it yourself. So you don't have to just
well,
send me things,
whatever.
you can do it yourself. So
So some of us aren't rocket scientists. So
well,
anyway,
you were a rocket scientist using
I
the
was.
very
That's the
loosely.
key
All
word.
right,
I was.
there you go.
Anyway, the bottom line is they're trying to end the purchase of single-use plastics. And we had a speaker a few weeks ago about making some utensils that weren't plastic, going in that direction. But there were a couple of what do I want to say, some statistics. And that they're trying to, by at least 2035, it'll banish single-use plastics from all government operations. So that's the move in that direction. And it goes on, it says, the US generates more plastic waste than any other country. The average American generates almost 500 pounds of plastic waste a year. An average American, 500 pounds. Only about 9% of plastic collected through solid waste collection programs is recycled. So, I mean, the amount there, 500 pounds per person, that's a lot. Of course, it says the Biden plans comes with a big political asterisk. If former President Donald Trump retakes the White House, this may not go forward.
Yeah, of course not.
So anyway, it says if the effort sticks, it'll have a huge global impact, and today's commitment at least puts the federal government in the driver's seat to tackle its own plastic use problem. So anyway,
The
I just wanted to let you all know that that was an article I saw in the New York Times a few days ago.
Yeah, I forgot to share it in the newsletter, Dave, sorry, but, so the woman that just came to my house to inspect my house for the Ugandan girl, cause she's the Rotary coordinator for the district, the youth exchange, her name's Ellen. She's in Cocoa Beach, and she is I'm scheduling her to give us a talk on, reducing the use of plastics, cause she does a lot of that, sort of presentation. So I don't know when it'll be, sometime August, September, so that fits right in with this. I'll send her that article. Thanks.
Oh,
On that-
okay. Thanks.
On that note, I was I reflected on that the whole time I was in France, and so I got kind of a taste for what everyday life must be like for Gael and for you, Denise, I assume as well. It was really quite interesting. The wooden utensils, like little wooden disposable utensils, no plastic. I don't think I had a straw the entire time I was in France, and you know what? We lived. It was like not really a big deal.
Yeah.
That was really interesting. And the to go stuff, I don't know if this is like a legislative mandate or if it's something like UE or if it's France. Denise, maybe you know, but I noticed that when we asked to take things to go, we got charged.
Yeah, that's correct. Nowadays, it's the law that companies have to charge you for single-use plastics. So if you have takeaway, you're automatically, well, it's not much. It's like 25 cents or 50 cents or something, but you are charged for single-use plastic. Not quite sure if it's actually helping to reduce the amount of plastic, but some people might be, I mean, especially Dutch people are pretty cheap. So if they have to pay 50 cents extra, they'll often choose not to have plastic. So it's
I think I had a euro. I had a euro charge for a box, like for a.
Yeah, could be. And McDonald's also, it's not allowed for McDonald's to have single-use plastics. So when you go out, for example, to McDonald's, you get reusable cups and everything that you have to bring back, or you can take them home. You have to pay like a small amount of money, and then you can take it home. And then once you come back, you can give it back to McDonald's, and then you get your money back. So
Oh,
it's
that's
like
interesting.
it's a small charge. So yeah, McDonald's is not allowed to have any single-use plastic anymore here in the Netherlands, at least.
Wow. Yeah, I did notice there was plastic cups with our drinks and plastic fry container and everything. Yeah. Fascinating. Any other sad bugs?
Well, this is Ailish. I hadn't turned myself off, I hadn't turned myself off mute when I was going to do the ecology dollars, and I wonder, does it count if I picked my last homegrown pineapple and replanted the top of it, and then make sure that my gardener doesn't plow over the top of it when he comes. But I do have a happy dollar. Thanks, Susie, for sending out the email from Dave. And it's good to see George again. I hope you're well. And
And-
we'll talk this week.
That was Sam who sent the email out from Dave with the link. He did it
Oh,
right
it
in
was
front of
Sam.
us on the
Okay.
screen, yeah.
I saw it. I thought it was me. Thank you, Sam. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
My pleasure. My pleasure. All right. How about birthdays, anniversaries? All right. And then the sad bugs.
Oh, sorry, we
Wait,
skipped
did
happy. I
oh,
wasn't
already
paying
said, wait, did
attention.
I said I was going to switch it. So whatever, happy or sad? Just surprises.
I have happy.
Happy.
I am very happy for. I know we're not supposed to be political, but I am happy for the Democrats in America that Joe Biden decided to step down. I think he has the look of a very sweet grandpa, but I don't think he was fit to run against Trump. And I'm really hoping that Kamala will do better. So at least she's young, she's a woman. So I know I can't vote, but I'd be rooting for her.
I just heard a funny thing. I was gonna have a happy dollar for finally we have a decision and can move forward. But I just saw a funny thing that said, at some point Kamala started a group of people, I forget what it was about, and they called themselves the Oxford Kamalas. So for those of you who are Kimberly and
funny.
I, and maybe
Say it one more
Ailish,
time. I didn't catch it.
the Oxford Kamalas, you know
Oh,
what
the
an
Oxford
Oxford
comma.
comma
Oxford
is?
comma.
And so Kimberly
I just
and
talked
I,
about
and maybe
Oxford commas
Ailish,
in my class this morning.
so Kimberly and Ailish and I don't know about Ailish, but Kimberly and I are both a little bit rigid about having Oxford commas in anything, so
Absolutely.
thought it
I'm
was
an
funny,
Oxford
the
comma
Oxford
guy.
Kamala.
I'm an Oxford comma guy for sure. It'll be a good face off. It'll be a great face off. So it'll be defender versus criminal. It's perfect. Match made in heaven.
That's what they said, the prosecutor versus the felon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other sad bucks, happy bucks? All right. Well, great. In that case, I will stop share and turn it over to our illustrious guest speaker for the day.
There you go.
I'll give it a go. I'll see if I can share my screen. Can you enable me?
Yes, sorry about that. Let me do it.
That's okay.
My Zoom updated, so it looks
It
different.
looks different. My computer decided to update like 2 seconds before I wanted to log on. So it's
Well, just be glad you weren't using CrowdStrike. You should be good now.
all right. I'm just hoping I didn't get that new Windows update that works so well for a lot of people around the globe.
Well, yeah, no comment.
All right. All right. I think everybody can see my screen, hopefully. So, well, here's my trip to Scotland. I think this is one of the nicest pictures that I took of of the three sisters in Glencoe. It was insanely busy, by the way, in Glencoe. So I just sort of jumped out of the car, took this picture, jumped back into the car because I was blocking several other people. But hey, I got the picture taken, so it's that's good. So this is the trip that I took. I spent, how long was it? I think it was 27 days in Scotland, and I started my trip with a friend. We came over with my car, took my own car from Amsterdam to Newcastle, and we drove up to Edinburgh. And the first 6 days we spent together. And then afterwards, I continued on through the Highlands, and I had to make some different decisions because my idea was to drive the North Coast 500, but as I got there, turned out everything was fully booked. There were no accommodations left unless you wanted to pay over £600 for just one night, which I thought was insane. So I decided to do some other things instead, and this is how it ended up. And I'm very happy in the end. So this is just a little picture of on board. I took the ferry. You can see the route in the picture to the bottom left. And you leave at about 5 o'clock in the evening, and then you arrive the next morning at 9 a.m. British time. So there's an hour difference between the Netherlands and England or Scotland, but you sail to England, by the way. And well, and on the way there, hopefully you were able to see some nice dolphins or whales or other things. Unfortunately, as you can see at the bottom right picture, it was extremely foggy, so we didn't see a thing. It's you could literally see at one point, this was actually pretty okay. This is right after we left from Amsterdam, but as soon as we got onto the North Sea, I think we could see about 2 meters out from the boat. That's it. So I'm very happy I didn't have to be the captain. So yeah, so the cars were nice and packed, as you can see. We had a very nice gentleman up front. He was a British guy. He lived in Edinburgh, and he just, gave us some nice ideas of what to see in Edinburgh itself. So that was really cool. And en route, we went to Alnwick Castle, which is famous for lots of movies, one of them Harry Potter, but also Blackadder, for the people who watch that. And that's really nice. They even filmed Transformers there. I didn't see that one. And they also shot some Downton Abbey scenes there. So it's really nice for like movie geeks or show geeks. They actually have several tours that you can do, several guided tours. So there is the movie tour, and then there is the history tour, and then there's another family tour, which is a bit less gruesome for the younger folk. And it's really interesting. I really like the British humor with the VAR in 1066. Yeah, so that was really fun. It was a beautiful day, and then we drove onwards. The funny thing is that you have the beautiful scenery of England, nice and sunny, and then 15 minutes later you cross the border to Scotland and you can see what's happening right there. It's immediately foggy. So that's the true Scottish weather there. So it was really fun. Also, what they do, what I noticed, which I personally found extremely strange, is that when they have traffic cameras and they're not in use, they actually write it down like not in use. Like, why would you do that? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Let the people believe that it's in use, but oh well, there must be some kind of law that that they have to do this. All right, so I'm not going to do a day by day thing. I just made some pictures. I have a couple slides of Edinburgh and surrounding area, and I'll tell you some stories what I did, and I have some other I grouped things together. I think that's nicer, that's easier, because you're going to be bored by day 4 otherwise. So yeah, so Edinburgh is a beautiful beautiful city. I've been there a couple times already, and well, my friend hadn't been there, so that's why she wanted to go. So I took it upon myself to be a tour guide and show her around. So we went to Victoria Street, which is the bottom right. It is a very colorful street, very nice, lots of shops, lots of nice restaurants. And it's also where they say that J.K. Rowling got her inspiration for Diagon Alley from. So it's really fun, and it's a nice quirky street. You have beautiful views of Edinburgh Castle on the bottom right, which we also visited a little bit later on. And one morning we did a hike up to Arthur's Seat. Arthur's Seat is the one on the left picture. It's actually an old volcano that is right in the center of Edinburgh. And it's really nice. It's basically a big park with the little peak there, and there's lots of people that go there to walk their dogs or hike or run, or there's lots of things going on, and it's really fun. We initially didn't plan of going to the top. We just wanted to do a nice scenic route, and we thought we had a nice peak to go on, and then we reached that little peak and we were very underwhelmed with how high we were. So we decided to take another path upwards, and then we got to another little peak, and then we saw that we were just a couple meters below the actual peak. So we decided to sort of carry on and do it. That last part was horrible, so but we made it. It's we can say we got to the top. So some other things what you can do in Edinburgh, there are beautiful churches, as you can see by the glass and lead stained windows. I'm not quite sure what you call it, but we call it glass in lead. And top right is a view from Edinburgh Castle. I think the windows that you can see, the church windows, are actually from the cathedral that you can see in the middle picture, next to the statue with the cone on its head, which is a popular pastime in Edinburgh, people putting cones on statues' heads. There are some nice, well, very calm cemeteries. The one that you see on the left is the Greyfriars Kirkyard, which is quite famous because of Greyfriars Bobby, the little dog, the little statue that is outside. And there are some nice ghost stories there as well, which is always fun. We took a guided tour through Edinburgh. It was a murder mystery tour, which was very enjoyable. We got all the gruesome stories, and the guy showed us around. We walked up to Carlton Hill, got some more gruesome stories. And yeah, if you ever go to Edinburgh, it's really good fun to book a guided tour, whether it be a ghost tour or a murder mystery tour. There are so many different tours. Some of them are free, actually. But I think if you pay a little bit extra, you get an extra nice tour with a very good storyteller. And if it is very rainy, what of course can happen because you are in Scotland, the weather can change. There could be 4 seasons in one day. Check out the National Museum of Scotland. There is the bottom right picture. That was the zoology part. Beautiful animals there. There was also a part about rocks and the skies and everything, and the astrological side. It was really, really interesting. And there's so much history there. They actually have sort of the guillotine's little sister. So in France you had the guillotine, and then in Scotland you had something of the same. It was also a guillotine, but the difference between the Scottish one and the French one was the French one has the blade under like an edge or an angle, so it would cut right through. The Scottish one had a straight blade, so that took like 5 to 6 times before it was actually through. So yeah, that was a gruesome way to die, but again, they like the gruesome stuff in Scotland, so that's really nice. So Edinburgh itself is beautiful, but there is also some other things around Edinburgh which are really nice to see. And these were like in a good driving distance. I mean, I know for American people, anything is a driving distance basically, but for us European people, that's sort of a different story sometimes. When it's just 1 hour drive, that's far enough. You don't want to go any further. So these are sort of within 1 hour from Edinburgh. And this morning we went to Inchcolm Abbey. Inchcolm Abbey is just a little bit north of Edinburgh, and we got on a boat near the bridges that you can see. There are 3 bridges in a row. The right one is the old railway bridge. Then the middle one is the old bridge, the old traffic bridge, but nowadays it's closed to cars. It's just a bike bridge. And then on the most left side, you see those little triangles there. That's the newest one, and that's now open to all cars and everything. So there's 3 in a row, and I think they call it the 3-century bridges, because the railway bridge is still from, I have to say this right, the 18th century. Then the middle one is 19th century, and the most left one is the 20th century, or the other way, it's like 19th, 20th, 21st. Sorry, that's it. So that's really interesting. I like that. So yeah, Inchcolm Abbey is a nice island. It's really an island, so you have to go there by boat. There are set times for tours, and you can just walk around when you're there. You have to be careful and mindful of the seagulls in season, because they pop up out of nowhere. As you can see, they have these little burrows in the grass, and they do tend to get aggressive, and they will shite on you. So it's there are several people who were covered in bird poop. But hey, they do give you a warning, so it's it's up to you if you want to do it. So some other things you can do is you can visit the Kelpies. The Kelpies are the big horse statues. Quite impressive. They're quite big. They're called the water horses. It's Scottish folklore, really. It's stories about the water horses that come from the depths of the loch, and they'll sort of lure you in and drag you down to the deep. But yeah, quite impressive, beautiful statue. There's the Falkirk wheel. That's the bottom one. It's a boat lift, so you can see the little canal on top, and you come sort of cruising on with your boat, and then it's a wheel that starts turning, and then it's, well, you'll end up at the bottom, and anything from the bottom, of course, can go to the top. So it's really very nifty. I think it's the only one in the world, I believe. So yeah, it was quite cool to watch. The ruin that you're seeing, that is Linlithgow Castle, and it is the birthplace of Mary, Queen of Scots. So that is very interesting. It's really a ruin at this point, but they are trying to restore it pretty nicely. So the right picture, you can see what it now looks like, but they have these nice drawings that help you sort of imagine what it was like back then. So they have some really nice drawings all over the castle. So you really get a good feel of what it looked like and what happened there. So that is, yeah, really cool. And if you ever go to Scotland, please buy the Scottish Heritage Pass, because that'll give you free access to most of the castles. That is, it's really saves a bit of money. It's really nice. Well, another thing you can do is visit the Wallace Tower. It's the one that you can see in the right picture. It's just basically a big tower that they built to sort of commemorate William Wallace, who is a very famous warrior. And his sword is there, as you can see. It's a huge sword. I mean, I am 5'6" or 5'5". I'm just right in the middle there. And you can see that sword is as tall as I am. So I'm not quite sure how he swung it, but he must have been a very tall guy. So that is very impressive. There are a huge amounts of steps. There is no lift, so you have to walk all the way to the top. But when you get to the top, the views are amazing. So if you can do it, do it. It's really nice. Please do not be claustrophobic, because it's just one way up and it's one way down. So each time you go down, you shout down like, "I'm coming through," and then you have to hope that people will want to wait. So after that week, I left my friend. I dropped her off at the airport, and then she flew back home, and I drove on by myself. And I visited a lot of Outlander locations, so I'm not sure who watched Outlander, but if you did, you know, I am a huge fan, and any location that I could visit, I try to. So of course, on the left you have Lallybroch, or actually it's called Midhope Castle, but you can visit it and pretend that you're visiting Lallybroch, and yeah, that was magical. That was really nice. There is also something called the Devil's Pulpit, which is basically, it's like a gorge, and there is, well, it looks like there's red water flowing through. It's just the soil that is blood red, but it's a very eerie place, and you can go down there and you can see the staircase. They call it the Devil's Staircase, and they call it that for a reason, because it's very treacherous. It's very slippery. I got sort of 1/3 down, and then I decided that I wanted to live a couple more days. So I decided to not do it and go back up. Basically, because it was the beginning of my holiday. If I were to trip and break something, that will be the end of it. So it was just me. There was nobody else near me. So yeah, I decided not to do it. But I did take a nice picture. So I also visited Blackness Castle, bottom right. You have Doune Castle up right. Doune Castle is, of course, also known for other films. It's used in Game of Thrones, actually, as a drop back of Winterfell. But it's just in one of the promos, so it's not very commonly known. And it's also very famous for Monty Python. So I'm not sure who watched that one, but this is the scene where you have the nice French guy who says, "Your mother was a hamster and your father smelled of elderberries." And then he
Love
would bang.
Monty Python.
So
They're my
that's
fave.
where the scene was shot.
Oh, I'm going just for that.
Yes, so you can imagine we got there, and most people who got there, "Your father smelled of elderberries." You could hear the quote all over the place. So it's yeah, it was amazing. It's really it's good fun. All right, so this is not necessarily an Outlander location. This is the battlefield of Culloden, which is, of course, it has its own history, but it is used in the Outlander movies. So a lot of people that visit Culloden actually go there because of the Outlander films. But just on itself, it is very impressive. And you go there. It was a beautiful day, but you're leaving with a very gloom feeling because you know how many people were killed at that spot. It's where the government troops and the Jacobites met, and I'm specifically not saying British versus Scots because it wasn't British versus Scots. It is really government troops and Jacobites because there were Scots on both sides fighting, and it's very tragic because it was a very short battle. It was over in about 45 minutes. And there were so many lives lost. So on the English, well, not the English, there you go, I make the mistake as well. But on the government side, there were approximately 50 people that lost their lives, whereas on the Jacobite side, it was up to probably 2,000 people that lost their lives. And it was all over in 45 minutes. So it was bloody, it was horrible. It is a bog. It's really a bog. So you can imagine that people got stuck. They were not supposed to be there. They were not supposed to fight there. They wanted to fight somewhere else. But due to circumstances, they ended up right there, and it was the worst spot they could have picked. There are several memorial stones all over the moor. You can see mixed clans, but there are also some other stones that have clan names on them. It's not the actual burial place because they really don't know where a lot of people are. And of course, when it's just a pile of people, you don't know which clan it is because there were really not many survivors, and there were no people who would recognize the people who were laying there dead on the moor. So there's just a couple of big mass graves, unfortunately. They have a beautiful wall up to the side of the museum. That's the top right one. And that is very impressive in a way that you see there are stones sticking out of the wall. So on the left side, it's not pictured, but on the left side, they pictured the government troops where there is 50 stones sort of picking out. And then you look to the right side, you see that entire stretch of wall with all those stones standing out, and that each stone stands for one person who got killed on the Jacobite side. So it's, you sort of stop and just think about life for a bit when you're there. It's very sad, but I do think it is worth going to if you're ever ever near Inverness, because this is near Inverness up north. So some other Outlander locations that you may recognize from the movies, you have the Standing Stones, of course. These are not the Standing Stones of Craignadoon, because that's a fictional place. There is apparently the place of Craignadoon that you could visit. I didn't go there because it's basically just another hill in the landscape where you don't really recognize it. You have to know where it is. But the stones that they used in the movie were modeled after actual standing stones that are on the Outer Hebrides, and these are the Callanish stones. So that was pretty cool. I tried. I didn't get transported back to Scotland, unfortunately, in 1800 something. So it's too bad. But hey, here I am. And there were some nice little squares. You have I can't remember. Is it Falk? I think it's Falkirk. That is the middle one, and then it's Kuros on the bottom right. And Kuros is actually used in a couple other scenes as well. There is the old palace, which in its own has a whole nice history to it. But they shot 3 different seasons there of Outlander. They use it for several different scenes. So it's really nice. It's a nice place to go. It's very quiet, very picturesque. So of course, when you have Outlander locations, there must be Harry Potter locations as well, because it's Scotland. So it's I visited the Glenfinnan Viaduct, where you could see the Jacobite steam train crossing over. I stood on the hillside, so the bottom left picture, the left picture, that is entirely mine. It was gorgeous. It was magical. There were so many people, and we were all clapping and cheering when that train came over. And it's just, you feel like one, you feel united, which is fun. And I met some other people. Oh, that's no. Okay. I was going to say, if you have questions, please interrupt me, because I know I can talk a lot, but you can interrupt me. So perhaps Finola can mute herself.
Okay. I didn't do that a minute. I'm in a shop. I can't. I'll have to sit down somewhere.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. There's just a lot of background
Yeah,
sound.
I didn't realize that. Yep. I had it muted.
Thank you so much. So I did meet some other people who were on the Jacobite steam train, and they sent a picture to me what it was like from the inside of the train. So I got both perspectives, which was really nice. And the bottom right picture again is Alnwick Castle, where you can see little broomsticks laying on the lawn, so you could have a flying class there. Unfortunately, when I was there, I injured my leg. I tore a muscle in my calf, so I couldn't join, which is really sad. But yeah, one time, couple years time, perhaps when I have a child, I'm gonna go back there and we're gonna do that flying lesson because it looked like so much fun. There were adults and children, and they were all running around with a little broomstick between their legs, and they were just having fun. And it was amazing to watch. And by chance, I actually didn't know that the statue of the boar that you can see in the top right, that is located at Balmoral Castle. And I didn't know it was there. It is a boar that is used in the movies as sort of the entrance gates of Hogwarts Castle. You see they're actually flying boars there, but it's exactly that boar. And it's a statue that was made in commission. Do you say in commission? So Queen Victoria commissioned to have the statue made, which I thought was fun. It was just a fun fact to know. So I just have a couple of slides, just nature. It's gorgeous. That's my car. It's a very trusted car. She took me over 4,000 kilometers all the way through Scotland across little roads, just a one single track roads. And it's just amazing to look at all the nature that you can see. This is actually Glencoe, this one. And well, I was lucky with the weather as well. Actually, in the end, I learned that I was lucky to be there at all because I had scheduled to be driving this day through Glencoe. And actually, the day before, it turned out it was completely shut down because they found a car in a river upside down, and there were 2 people inside dead. So the car got off the road, and they shut the entire road down, unfortunately. This is in, I can't say it properly, it's the Cairngorms or something. It's a beautiful nature reserve where Balmoral is situated in. It's gorgeous. It's just these rolling hillsides with the sheep and the little rivers crossing through it. And it was so quiet when I was driving there. It was just me. It was nature. It was some beautiful Scottish music. And I was just going along at 40 miles per hour. I wasn't going that fast, but it didn't bother because there was nobody, behind me. There's nobody in front of me. And it was just gorgeous. It was really, really, really nice. So some other nature, we have some coos, as they say, the Highland coos, waterfalls. I visited Hadrian's Wall, which is basically, it's not in Scotland, but I wanted to include the picture because it's beautiful nature. It's England, but I thought it was really cool. And perhaps, I'm not sure if Linda is still on the call, but I thought you might appreciate this, Linda. The bottom left, that is giant rhubarb. I didn't know they could get that big.
Whoa, that's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah, because we saw them all over the Dunvegan Castle grounds, and we were like, what is this plant? So at one point we just Googled it, and it turned out to be giant rhubarb. Of course, it's non-edible, I think. I think it's from Chile or something originally, but I thought it was amazing. All right. So you already saw a bunch of castles. There are a bunch more here because I like castles. I like history, so I visited a lot of them. This one was really impressive. That was Bamburgh Castle. It's on the left picture. You could see it sort of towering over everything else there. It's built on a rock, of course, and it was also used as a backdrop for The Last Kingdom. I'm not sure whoever saw that show, but it was the backdrop for Bebbanburg, because originally it was Bebbanburg. So it used to be called Bebbanburg way back, in 1000 something. So to me, that's already insane. Of course, what it looks now, it's nothing like it was back then because it got burned down, it got plundered, it got it got overrun a couple times. So the way it looks now is I think it was from, parts of it are from 1600, 1700, but a lot of them are quite new as well. The bottom right, that one is called Chillingham Castle, and I thought it was going to be a fun castle to visit. It was actually quite expensive as well. And on the inside, it turned out that the owner, he decided he didn't want to be part of the National Trust of Scotland, and he decided that he could do it himself, which basically means he sort of bought a lot of insane stuff and just stuffed it in his castle. He was a hoarder, basically. Every room contained so many crap items from all over the world that you wouldn't even pay $1 for to actually buy. So I was in and out of that castle in like 30 minutes because it was really underwhelming on the inside. And then when I got out of it, I got a call from somebody else who followed me on Polar Steps and saw on my GPS that I was there. And they said, "Do you know that's one of the most haunted castles of Scotland?" And I thought, well, no wonder I wanted to leave there, because I felt uncomfortable in every room that I visited. It was such a horrible place to be. So yeah, I was in and out in 30 minutes. I do not want to go back there. I thought it was just to do with all the crap that was in there, but you know, it might have been something else. Who knows? So some other castles, we have Glamis Castle on the left, top left, which is where the well, I think late Queen Mother came from. Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon, her name was. That was the mother of Queen Elizabeth II. She was raised there. It's her ancestral home. And the Queen Elizabeth and her sister Margaret spent a lot of time there in their youth. On the bottom, that is Balmoral Castle, of course, very famous. You cannot go in because it's still a private home of the royal family. So there's just one room that you can enter. There's a little exhibition with aquarelle paintings from King Charles, who is actually a pretty good painter. So it's really worth watching it. Going and visiting it. But the grounds around Balmoral Castle are really nice. So it's just made up for a nice walk. And on the right, that's Dunrobin Castle, which overlooks the sea, as you can see in the bottom right picture, and it is stunning. It is breathtaking. The gardens there are so beautiful, and I think especially if you like plants, if you like nature, Linda, you would love it there. So please go and visit it someday, because I had to think of you when I was walking around that garden. It's gorgeous. And this is one of my favorites as well. This is Eileen Donan, which is used in a lot of films as well. It's a very romantic castle. You can see the difference with the tides. The one on the right is in the morning. The one on the left, it's the same castle. It's just different tides. That is the late afternoon. And it's gorgeous. You can visit it. You can go inside. It's very cramped. It's very tiny on the inside, but it feels like a proper medieval castle still. So I met a lot of great people as well, something different. On the left, that's a nice American couple. They're actually from Florida. They're from, I'm not sure if I say it correctly, but Ocala. So they are from probably near some of you. He used to be a Rotarian. So we got talking at dinner, because I was just sitting there minding my own business. They joined. They're the couple that sent me the Harry Potter picture from inside of the train. So we got talking about our experiences. And at one point, I received a phone call from my next accommodation on how to reach them. So I was busy calling them. They had to run off because they had to catch the train again. And when I wanted to pay for my dinner, it turned out they paid for my dinner. So yeah, they were the nicest people you can find. They were such kind people. So yeah, we follow each other on Facebook now. That's how you make friends. So that is fun. The top middle picture, the three of us, we called ourselves the Lewis Lasses. I met them when I did a trip to the Outer Hebrides. We have the middle one, she's American, she's from California. The left one, she is Scottish, from Glasgow. And we had great fun. In a way that every night we drank 3 bottles of white wine. We had a blast. So that's good. The top right, that's a very cute guy. He's a Scottish guy, and I met him because he is actually quite a famous person on Instagram, and I follow his page. He's called Andy the Highlander, and he is a tour guide as well. And I was a bit starstruck, so all I can do was take this picture, and I stumbled a bit and I mumbled a couple of words, and that was about it. So it's I am clearly not cut out to meet famous people, that's for sure. He said it was so lovely to meet you, and I was like, yeah, there. Bye. So yeah, that's it. And then the lovely two ladies on the bottom right, that's a couple from Nashville, and they were amazing. I actually ran into them a couple of times on different parts of Scotland. So in the end, we decided that was fate, and we had to stay in touch. So yeah, this was at Balmoral Castle. Before that, we met in Inverness, and before that, we met on the other side of Scotland, in Oban. So yeah, sometimes it's just fate, I think. So we're almost at the end, I promise. I think we're almost doing time. So that's Staffa. Staffel is famous for Fingal's Cave. You can see Fingal's Cave on the right bottom side. It's gorgeous. You go there by boat. It was a horrible day, by the way. We got rained upon, but it was beautiful in a way that we saw puffins. And yeah, that was amazing. I really wanted to see those little birds. They were on my bucket list to spot one day. I had to run to the other side of the island. They said the walk there was 20 minutes one way, 20 minutes back. I just channeled my inner Lord of the Rings, and I was running along those cliffs through the wind, and I made it in 10 minutes there and 10 minutes back because I had to be on time for the boat, but I did see the birds. So it's, yeah, that was wonderful. Some pictures from the Isle of Skye. That's the Old Man of Storr, the single rock that you see peeking out there. This is the Quarang. The Quarang is gorgeous, used for several movies as well. And this is the Fairy Glen. You can see the little stone circles. Looks huge. It's very small. It's quite underwhelming in real life, but it was a nice area to be in anyway, so I'm not complaining. And then we have St. Andrews. I'm not sure who of you likes to golf, but there we go. That's the old course. It's quite famous. People are well, not literally killing to get a spot to golf on there, but it's quite near there. You have to, it's like a lottery system. You have to be lucky to get selected for a spot to golf there. Some nice ruins of the old cathedral on the right. Gorgeous, really nice to visit. And then
It's named after one of my relatives.
Oh, really?
No.
I was gonna say, yeah, no. Well, could be. I mean, hey, you never know. The Scottish are all over the place, I learned. So
Actually, I'm mostly English, but I think there is a touch of Scottish in my heritage.
I could be. They like to breed all over the world, so
Yeah, my niece went to university at St. Andrews. She loved it up there.
There are lots of American students actually, because the girl that you saw in the picture of the Lewis Lasses, the American girl, she studied at St. Andrews. That's why we met there. So it's
she loved it.
One of my first employee was a Rotary Foundation scholar. He did a year at in St. Andrews, I think at the college there, as a Rotary Foundation scholarship recipient.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, it's I think it's a nice university. It's a really nice city to be in as well. Or city. It's a small city, but it's really nice and cozy. So yeah, quickly the Outer Hebrides. So it's the Isle of Lewis and the Isle of Harris. It's not actually two isles, it's one isle, and there is a sort of imaginary border in the middle that separates Lewis from Harris. Lewis is more flat, more peat, more boggy. Harris is more rugged, more mountains. That's basically how you can divide it. Lots of sheep, lots of beautiful nature, very clear blue seas. It almost looks like you're in the Maldives. It's gorgeous. And some beautiful old ruins as well. This was an old broch on the left side, which is a tower basically where people lived in. So yeah, that was really nice to see. And of course, you can't go without food. So I just made this one big compilation of all sorts of food that I had in Scotland. I had all the traditional things: haggis, eggs Benedict, you name it, I ate it. So it's and of course I tried the whiskey as well. It's gorgeous. So yeah, if you have a chance to go, do it.
If I could ask you, at the time you were on Lewis, did you visit the homestead, the homestead of Donald Trump's mother? She was born on Lewis.
Oh, really? No, I
Yeah,
didn't.
she was
I
born on
didn't
Lewis.
know that.
Yeah.
So no, I
Yeah,
didn't.
and her homestead is still there.
So he wasn't even on my
That's
mind.
just
I would avoid anything connected to Donald Trump at this point, other than maybe
Yeah,
his future grave. So.
yeah, could be. Yeah. So I didn't see any questions in the chat. If there are any questions, you can ask them. But yeah, it was gorgeous. I really miss it.
It looked gorgeous. That was fun. They did a great job putting it together and talking about it. It was really fun to hear. Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank
Yeah.
you. I'm sorry if I talked a bit quick, but I think I had to do it because I wouldn't have made it on time.
No, it was a lot to cover. I mean, you covered a lot of ground. I'm impressed. I hate traveling alone. Absolutely hate it. I hate eating alone and I hate being in another country and trying to be a tourist alone. But I'm very impressed that you did that because, I've traveled the world, but I still hate doing it alone. So.
I don't like doing it alone, but in the end, I have to say Scotland wasn't so bad because the people are so nice, and like everywhere I went, there were always people to talk to. So yeah, that made a huge difference. I'm not sure if it's just the Scots or also British people, because when I stayed in England, because I had to stay there for 2 nights before I left for the ferry again, it was also there were such nice people, I would sit alone in a restaurant, but the waitresses would come up to my table and chat, it's really good. It was really nice.
Yeah. Sounds fun. It looked like a great trip. They had great weather and great pictures. Really nice pictures. So
Yeah. Basically, I think there were like 3 days or something that I got rained upon really badly, but all the other days, like 24 days, it was just nice weather.
it looks
Oh, I got
like
a
it was
question.
pretty chilly
What
too.
sort of accommodation there? I booked through booking.com, so it was usually hotels, but it was a B&B one day, a little lodge. I stayed at a small palace, a small castle. Sometimes when I went to the Outer Hebrides, they booked a bed and breakfast for me. It depended. I just stayed at whatever booking offered and was reasonably priced.
Did
So.
you plan all of that like weeks ahead where you were going to be each day, or did you sort of know 2 days from now I'll be in Balmoral Castle or whatever? And
Well, the thing is, I wanted to just go and see where I would end up. And then when I visited Edinburgh, because those days were set. The first 6 days we had the hotel all booked and that was set. And after that, I was gonna see where I would want to go. And then like the second or third day in Edinburgh, I just started looking ahead, like where do I want to go? Can I get a hotel in that area? And then I got to the conclusion that everything was fully booked. So that's why the initial itinerary that I had in my head had to be sort of, it flew out the window. And it turned out later on, I heard from a lot of the American people that I met, is that there is a ton of a lot of people from the United States, also from other countries, but a lot of them from the United States, who are covering, or sort of they're doing their delayed COVID trips. And in America, they tell you to book everything in advance, not just the hotels, but also all the restaurants. And the thing is, so I wanted to do just, see where I'd end up. It was all fully booked. So in the end, I had to make a schedule. I had to make an itinerary. I didn't want to do it, but I had to do it because at one point I had no choice but book a stay that was like £230 per night, just because that was the cheapest accommodation in like a 150-kilometer radius. So yeah, you had no choice because everything was just gone. So yeah, I wanted to do Skye in like 2 or 3 days, the Isle of Skye. I had no choice. I had to do it in one day. So I drove up 3 hours to Skye. I drove around Skye and then had to drive back 3 hours. I spent 8 hours in the car that day just trying to cover Skye in one day because there were no accommodations left. So yeah, unfortunately, if you have to go, book in advance, but before COVID, you could just drive up there and see where you'd end up. I prefer that, but unfortunately right now you cannot.
when did you go? Was it May?
It was the end of May, beginning of June.
Okay, so it's still pretty chilly though. I love cold weather anyway, so.
Yeah, it was, well, I don't know the amount of Fahrenheit, but it was about 17 degrees Celsius, which I really liked. It was really good because you didn't need a jacket most of the days because you get used to the weather as well. But yeah, it was really, really nice. It was a good temperature.
16 is 61 Fahrenheit, so 17 would be about 63, 64.
Yeah, something like that. It was really nice.
Well done. All right, well, you're the host, so you can close the meeting,
Oh,
Denise.
I am the
Unless you
host.
made
All
you the
right. So,
host, yes.
well,
So-
thank you for paying
Thank
attention.
you. And we'll see you all next week. I have to drop, so talk
All
to you.
right.
And if anyone wants to do a watch party, sorry, I completely forgot I mentioned that because I had my head around Sam coming up to do a launch. So, but if anyone wants to come, it's great. So I gotta run though. See you guys. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much, Denise. That was very, very enlightening. Thank you. I enjoyed that.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. I'm happy you enjoyed it. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Very good.
Take care.
That was
Take
great,
care, you all.
Denise.
Have a good day. Bye.
Have a good week. Bye.
Bye. You too. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Hi,
Bye, Denise.
Finola.
Hi there, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm not too bad. Yeah, I'm here in a shopping center. That's why it's so noisy. And I didn't mean to.
That's okay.
Yeah, so I'm off to India in October, so I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, that's amazing. So are
I've
you
been
now in the
here-
United States or are you in Ireland?
Oh, I'm in Ireland. Yeah,
Oh, you're
I'm here
in
since
Ireland.
April.
Oh, okay, that's good. Are you staying whole summer or not?
Yeah, no, I stay for the summer. Yeah, I'm going to England next week to a music summer school.
Oh, nice. That sounds wonderful.
Yeah, it's fun. And then I'm heading off in October. Well, yeah, the end of October. Don't know how long
Alright.
I'll stay in India. It's
Okay, good.
open-ended. Yeah. So that's interesting about the hotels, Denise. I know you're probably in a hurry. It's the same here. Hotels
Yeah.
are so expensive and booked up. It's
Yeah, and
unbelievable.
it's especially they are so much more expensive than I anticipated they would be. I think I thought I would be able to get like a hotel room for just a single person for like £70 per night or something.
Yeah.
It's
Think
just
about
it's
the whole-
130, £150 per night for just one person.
That's dreadful. Right. Are the accommodation here is very short in Trustby because a lot of the hotels and guest houses and B&Bs are occupied by Ukrainians and asylum seekers. They've been
Yeah.
rented by the government. So it must be the same there, or is it?
Well, I think in Scotland it's mostly tourists actually, because it was really, really busy. It was not supposed to be that busy because they all say that end of May, beginning of June should still be sort of low season, and usually July, August, that's the high season. But for some reason it was packed at the end of May, and I did not expect it to be packed. Even the Scottish people didn't expect it to be that packed as well. So
Yeah.
I think it's just that.
Yeah. I think it's COVID people, you know what I mean? People are trying to get out and do what they missed for 2 years.
Yes,
Catch up.
that's really what it is. That's what a lot of people said. Most of the American people I met, they say, well, we were supposed to do this trip 2 years ago, but we couldn't because of COVID. So now we're doing it. And that's basically everybody that I spoke.
Yeah, so that's why there's so many tourists, yeah. Because I was down in Kerry in Ireland about a month ago. I'm going again on Friday. And it was very difficult to find a room. I did eventually. I just found a room over a pub. It was €80 without breakfast, which was actually very good value.
Well, that's good.
But
Yeah.
for a pub, that would have been about 50 with breakfast.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. That's yeah. Oh, well, what can you do?
That's the way it is, yeah. Okay,
It
Denise,
is.
that was great. It was really interesting. Oh,
It
there's
was
George.
nice talking to you again.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, George. It's really nice seeing you.
Hi, George.
I saw your comment. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, I'm going to close the meeting now. Hopefully see you next
Okay.
week again.
Bye-bye. Bye, George. Bye, Denise.
Bye.
Bye-bye.